Thank you and good evening to everyone for the Town Council planning meeting 18th of October. The Mayor will allow maximum of 15 minutes if for the members of the council to receive questions from registered electors. Do we have any questions? I see we have some public in, but no thank you. Fine, thank you very much. We'll carry on with the agenda. So apologies for absence.
Apologies received from councillors Irwin, Kavanagh and Saunders.
Thank you.
And also Councillor Anthony Hook has confirmed that he stepped down from this committee. Yes. So we will now be quora at 3 from this meeting forward.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Members who have interest, please declare them now. Councillor Williams.
Thank you. The application 21505170 the Annex Bridge House. I think that is application by Councillor Irwin.
Oh,
I'm not sure how we handle
yes. that. We thought, yes. Does that apply to all of us then?
It will do, yeah.
In that case, I declare that same non-pecuniary interest.
Yeah, we'll all declare that. Thank you. Item 3, to receive and accept as a true record the minutes of the last meeting, which was the 4th of October. I have the minutes. I didn't see anything there that was incorrect. Anyone happy to propose we accept those? Councillor Williams and seconder.
I don't think I'm allowed to because I wasn't there, so I can't.
No, you can't second, can you? No, I'm happy to
be yourself, those. Madam Mayor.
Yes, it will. And can we? Yes, we were only just called, weren't we? Can we all vote on that to accept the minutes? Thank you. To receive the planning schedule dated the 4th of October. It was quite a long one. Again, I didn't see any issues on those. Councillor Williams.
I'm happy to propose we accept that schedule.
Thank you, and I'm happy to second. And can we vote, hopefully, to accept those? Lovely. Thank you. Wow, we're up to planning very quickly. To consider and make representation to the relevant authorities on planning applications contained in the enclosed, dated the 18th of October. 2150 5230 TCA for Belvedere Close. Conservation area notification. 2 and 3 Sorbus reduce 2 trees from 6 metre to 4 when measured from the ground. Councillor Williams, does that sound? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk on this item. Yeah, I'd propose no objection. It seems pretty reasonable maintenance for those trees.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder to confirm that?
Yep. Councillor Perkin.
Councillor Perkin, thank you. Could we all vote? Thank you. 2150 5279 TPOA for Belvedere Close. Same one. TPO application 1 sycamore, reduced crown on south side of the tree from 8 metres to 6 when measured from the trunk. Reasons include allowing more light to surrounding shrubs and juvenile trees. Councillor Williams, would you like to make a comment on that?
Yeah, I'm happy to, thank you. Again, I would propose no objection. I think the only comment we could make is that obviously the fact that it's a tree with a tree preservation order on is that we just emphasise the fact that it needs to be carefully pruned to maintain its shape and not impact on its preservation order.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that proposal? Councillor Martin. And could we vote on that then? Thank you. £21.50, £23.57 REM approval of phase 2B, Faversham Lakes Ham Road, approval of reserved matters of appearance, landscaping, layout, scale for erection of 111 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 bedroom houses and apartments, together with associated RADs, parking, roads, I think that is, parking, landscaping, pursuant of hybrid application SW140257. Is this where we have our expert in?
It is, of course. I'm just got somebody at the door. It's a bit strange.
Thank you. Yes, I don't know if any councillors got any comments on this, or are we going to wait for Hannah? Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I made some notes, so I'll run through those and then Hannah can say whether I'm right or wrong.
Okay.
First, on affordable housing, can we request that the mix of dwellings match those requested by the Scarborough Council Affordable Housing Manager, and that M42 or M43 standards are met for all dwellings. There have been some concerns from residents, I know, about the viewing platform because of deep water and looking at private gardens, but I don't see that as a major problem myself, but that may be something we should comment on. And can I request that flats have externally accessible letterboxes? One of the things I've noticed with a lot of new developments now is that they're putting in letterboxes behind some sort of security door, which is fine, but if people are delivering, and I don't mean just a postman or Amazon or whoever, but if people are delivering general newsletters, whether it be the parish church or whoever, if they can't get into these places, people are less well informed, and I think that we do need to ensure that carries on.
Thank you.
And can I request that where possible, hedging is used in place of fencing or boundaries? And if that's not possible, can we ask that there are no concrete kick weights at the base of fences, because they do stop the biodiversity, and that whole development runs through to some quite significant wildlife areas. They're my comments.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Yes.
I see Councillor Perkin has around that.
Perkin, yes, she'd come in. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to mention about hedging because it's one of the stipulations by Kent Police is that all of the boundaries have 1.8 metre fences, I think. So I was wondering what the kind of relationship between wanting better biodiversity but also wanting security through the police, what relationship there is there that we can have influence on, whether it might be that we look at putting in kind of hedgehog holes in the fences if it has to be a fence for specific purposes according to the police. Obviously, Councillor Martin's already picked up the concerns around the viewing station, but I'm not entirely sure whether that's a material interest that we can really oppose on. And yeah, the affordable housing's already been picked up, so those are all the things that I had. But it'd be interesting to hear from Hannah about what push we have on fencing as opposed to hedging. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Hannah.
Well, thank you. And you'll be pleased to know it's like we've done a double act between us. I looked at the application before I came along and I've picked up on exactly the same things. So I've added to my extra points, which I hadn't put before, is I will copy your previous commentary on the affordable housing that you made on the outline application. I'll drop that one in. On the apartments, I'll add about the external letterbox. I'm not sure how successful we will be, but let's point that out and let's see if we can get it to be better designed in that form. I'll have a look at the viewing platform as well, because I haven't actually put anything particular on that. And then Hannah, you picked up on a really interesting point. So the police are asking for it because CABE, the Commission for Architecture and the Built Environment, as it used to be, now the Design Council, produced a design document called Secure by Design. And the whole point of that document over 10 years ago was to look at how we design larger scale developments like this, housing estates, to reduce that opportunity for crime. And one of those things is to put in tall, close board fencing so it stops people from hopping from garden to garden if they're doing not great things. The problem is in reality, what you can create is quite dangerous, dark and unattractive spaces. So now we've moved away from that. Of course, the positive thing is the emerging neighbourhood plan that we're preparing for the whole of Faversham will address that. So we've got the evidence base to back for that. So you're absolutely right to pick up on that. I will just run through the points that I'd picked up on, and then you can either give me the thumbs up or the thumbs down to each one in turn, and then I can enhance it from there. So the two key parts that I've broken the response down into about biodiversity and the natural environment, because all of our evidence base says how important it is. So the first thing that I've picked up on is there's an opportunity to create a softer landscape transition to the linear park. So that's on the east side. That existing park is actually part of the earlier phase. What they're showing is they're hard standing, just butting up to the edge of it and not making that soft transition. So, and also recognising that that park is a really important traffic-free route linking phase 1 and phase 2 and the north and the south of the site. So not only is it important for us as we move along that, but also there's an opportunity for the wildlife to migrate using that park. So we want to make those edges much softer. So that was the first point that I picked up on. And then again, Councillor Martin, currently some of the proposed boundary treatments are not conducive to supporting wildlife corridors and movement, or contributing to drainage through planting schemes. That's the other thing that I thought of. So I've suggested that this could be addressed through more careful design, for example, including hedgehog-friendly fence panels when they have to be put in, or putting bat and bird bricks in the properties fronting the tree planting areas at the amenity spaces, because I thought that would be another one. And then I've recognised, because it's always nice to compliment them on something, the planted hedges as the front boundary treatments is welcomed, because when you look at the detailed landscape plan, they are proposing that everybody has a front boundary treatment. So is everybody happy with those points so far?
I think so. Yeah.
So that's the biodiversity and natural environment. Let's move on to the design and layout. So I will start with the affordable housing comment that you had before, because that follows on to my point. The proposed layout concentrates the affordable housing in the core of the development. So they've shown all the affordable homes all set together as a clump in the middle. Now, what our emerging neighbourhood plan is saying is we should really be striving for what we call tenure blind. So it just means, in practical terms, they are pepper potted throughout the development. So as you walk down the street, you wouldn't know what's an affordable home and what has been privately bought. So I've suggested that it be designed, the layout be revised to support tenure blind design and layout. It's not really a big deal for them, and that would make a more sustainable development like that. And then I've said in line with the emerging design policy of our neighbourhood plan. So to give Swell an idea of our direction of travel. So that's what I've put on the affordable housing. Then the next one, I'm not sure if many of you will have picked up on it because of the scale of the plans, but many of the properties have a proposed single garage. If anybody parks their cars in the garage, they won't be able to open the doors in these ones. So I've said proposed single garage dimensions don't appear to accommodate a parked vehicle and enable the occupants to exit within the structure. So one of you can climb out, but whoever's your passenger must remain in the vehicle overnight. So put simply, these are not designed fit for purpose given the size of modern vehicle, because they're just working on a very standard product type. But vehicles have grown. So I've suggested that they do that. And then the next thing that I picked up on, there are no details of electric car charging points. These should be an integral part of the design going forward, because it'd be a shame to think, affordable housing or not, that those occupants, by the time that this is built, everybody should be making that transition to electric cars. So this is going to be an integral part of the design for people going forward. So that cost should be now put in, because they might have the economies of scale. So I've suggested that that be incorporated as a feature. And then I've said to support the design concept to face building frontages, the public realm, they should, we really like the way that all on the edge of the development, when they front the pond or the park, the houses face out towards those spaces. So it's not the backs of gardens. So we're saying we support that. That's a really good design element that they've put in there. Because again, it's always nice to commend people when they've done something that's a good design. But then, double-edged sword, I've said currently there's limited quality amenity space for the proposed apartment block. It's shown as apartment block 5 or D on the plans. A revised design layout to incorporate the apartments adjacent to the pond space will positively address the design issue. All that I've thought is, given what's happened in the last 18 months, for any future occupants of those apartments, they haven't got any outdoor space. They have a small car parking yard at the back, and there's a small amount of green space physically in front of the apartments, but there's actually nowhere for them to sit out and enjoy. So if those designs do incorporate balconies or things like that, it would be better for them to look out onto things like the pond or the park, is what our suggestion was. Would you be happy for me to incorporate that as a suggestion? Yeah.
I feel very happy. Everyone's nodding, Hannah, I think.
Okay.
Are we all happy with that? Yeah.
And then I've just moved on with the design, said the proposed houses are standard in design and materials because they're the developer's standard product. They're not site specific with the response to the design, nor do the proposed dwellings include design features that address climate change. So in the design and access statement, if you've had time to look at it, there's about 5 pages that are dedicated to renewable energy and the importance of addressing climate change. But I can't see any of those features then translated onto the plans that I've looked at. So I've said, it's noted that the design and access statement says the site is suitable for a number of identified energy generation products, yet these haven't been translated into the overall design, in case we've missed something, but I can't see it. The evidence base gathered for the emerging neighbourhood plan makes it clear that this is a water stressed area. There are no proposed features to address this, such as rainwater harvesting within the buildings or how the whole development is climate resilient. Thinking about overheating, being within a water stressed area, flash flooding from surface water caused by cloudbursts, etc. There's none of those features that we'd expect to see built into that. So I said, given the current context and international agenda to positively address climate change, this reserve matters application should be more positive on its design contributions, i.e., come on guys, we're right behind you, do or die, now's the time to do it. So that's what we're saying, be more positive, you can do it. It is therefore suggested the scheme is revised to incorporate such design measures. The National Design Code has further information on how this could be achieved. So you're signposting, you're being friendly and supportive, and he's saying, go and look at the government guidance that came out in March this year. Together with the commitment from Swale Borough Council to address climate change and create climate resilient communities. These are the buzz phrases at the moment, climate resilient communities. So that's what we're all saying. But basically what we're thinking of this summer when we had, well, up here in the north, we had 2 weeks of hot weather. I'm sure you had more than that down there, but think about the rooms that got really hot at home, how comfortable it was at night. Then fast forward, if you lived here in the north, they're saying we could have snow in a couple of weeks. You probably never have snow. But thinking on the practicalities, then how do we afford to heat our homes given what's potentially happening this winter with our reliance on gas? So I'm just saying, come on guys, you're building a big enough development here, you've got enough possibility to actually up the design quality on this. and create somewhere that is going to be resilient. So when we're sitting here in 20 years' time, we might be joined by residents commenting on applications and saying, you know, it never floods in our row because we've got this really great system and it all feeds, you know, or we've had 2 families of hedgehogs migrate from the numbers 1 down. Let's give them the opportunity. So we've supported them on the positive things, but then we're politely chivying them along, because I think there's certainly scope to do more with it. And I wouldn't just take it just because that's how they've put it in as a reserve matter. So I would say you're better off to ask them to go back to the drawing board and have a little rethink. It's them for them to negotiate with the planners, whether they can submit revised details or whether they need to be more significant and withdraw, have a good think about it and then come back in with a larger scheme. But that's not for you guys to influence. That's for them to decide with Swale. But those were the suggestions that I put forward. So everything that you'd said, just I wrote it a bit more waffly and long.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm sure that wasn't waffle at all. That was very good information. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Hannah? Or yeah, Councillor Williams.
Firstly, thank you. That's made things a lot helpful. I think these sorts of applications are quite daunting for people like ourselves who, well, I speak for myself, but in the sense of trying to get it in a format that actually will make an impact, because ultimately the things around biodiversity and climate change mitigation, it's something we obviously are very, it's a big priority of the town council, but clearly we know that there's things that don't necessarily happen because they don't fit in with the national planning framework. But if we can, as you say, put that positivity in and actually say, you know, we're not against the whole development, but these are the things to improve, it does at least give that impression that we're willing to work with them. I mean, the developer's been, I think, fairly good at communicating in the past, and I think, you know, we've had conversations with some of our other environmental priorities such as pesticide-free towns and how we can integrate some of these things early on so that they don't, we're not creating better things in the rest of the town and then we've got to work on them to change it later on, so that hopefully it's an integrated sort of development within the town. So the biodiversity corridor, wildlife corridors, that is something that's very, very much I think is really important. So I think that's really helpful. Thank you.
Very helpful. Any other councillor wish to talk to Hannah? No, so we can say thank you, Hannah. Are you staying through the whole meeting or no? You will be off now.
What I just wanted to check is, so I've written these as bullet points for this evening. How would you like me to respond in this case? Do you want me, rather than to do it as an official letter, Adrian, do you want me to bullet point them and then you incorporate them into your normal response?
I think if you just send them to me, then I'll submit it.
Yeah, so if I just do it as a nice clear bullet point list, incorporating the extra things that Trevor and Hannah have given this evening. Yeah.
And then I'll submit it. Yeah. And we've got an extension to Friday for it, so we've got a few days.
That was very helpful, Hannah. Thank you so much.
We must come back when we need so much for inviting me. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Right, on to 2150 3508 Full Macknade Stores, Canterbury Road, retrospective application for installation of 2 condenser units. Have we got any comments on this? Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I note there are no comments from my neighbours when I looked to the changes, and although it's retrospective, there are no issues with this that I can see. I think revised details are just where neighbours have commented and they've moved a couple of bits. So my suggestion that we would just say no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments? Could we have a seconder for that? Councillor Perkin, seconding, and could we all vote on that? Thank you. 2150 4537 Full Suite second suite, first floor, 2 Jubilee Way, change of use from office to physiotherapy clinic. Again, Councillor Perkin.
I was actually going to propose that we support this application. I
Yeah.
think that there's a need for it, and it used to be on.
Yes.
Actually, I used to work on that floor
Yeah.
of that building, so I know where the room is. I think it would be helpful for the business and for people of Faversham, so I think we should support it.
Yes, I quite agree. Any other comment, Councillor Martin?
Yeah, I fully agree. I'll second the need to support this. I mean, we keep hearing that people say we need more medical facilities,
Yeah,
and there is also, following COVID, the reduction in need for office space. So I think we should support this application. I'll second that.
thank you. Any other comments, or can we vote on that? Thank you. 2150 4960 for 31 Forbes Road, installation of a dropped curb. Do we have any comments on this application? No. Councillor Williams?
Thank you.
It-
I was a bit torn with this application because a lot of the properties along there have drop curbs and driveways. It's certainly not uncommon in that road. But and it's then been hard to kind of feel like we can object to that, because we're kind of, you know, it feels like we're kind of depriving someone of something other people have got. But my biggest concern is that, you know, these drop curb things come up quite often, and you know, we try and sort of talk about trying to reduce the kind of hard surfaced front gardens, because I think at the moment this has got kind of I think I understand it rightly, it's got kind of a reasonable kind of grassed area, and it looks very much like it's going to completely go and just be basically for cars. And I know probably the access onto the road isn't probably so much of an issue because of other vehicles doing the same, but yeah, I do have real concerns on just because other people have done it, we just continually not. We just, you know, generally just keep supporting it, because otherwise then you end up with every front garden having driveways on. So I'm really not sure. I would probably be minded to object, but I feel that might be a bit harsh, and I'm not really sure. I'd be interested in what others think.
Yes. Any other comment? Councillor Saunders.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and apologies for being late.
Fine.
Yeah, I feel like Councillor Williams, but I think the main issue here, which the applicant is very focused on in their application, is the safety issue, and it does feel a bit ironic that the 20-mile-an-hour scheme is now being used as a vehicle to suggest that we should have drop down curbs. It would strike me that at that particular point there are still risks in vehicles coming out onto the road, particularly if they're backing out. And in fact, if there was more street parking at particular times of the day, and I know there are limitations, it would help reduce the speed of traffic. So my memory is that there was a similar application which was turned down by Swale and went to appeal, but my memory might have escaped me there. So my feeling would be that, you know, it would be quite reasonable for us to object to this on both the grounds that Councillor Williams said, but also that we were concerned about the safety element of vehicles coming in and out at that point. It's still quite near the junction with Athelston Road there.
Councillor Martin. Thank you.
Thank you. I actually do agree. I would second the need to object. It does affect the street scene, losing the front garden. I know that the drop curb may reduce parking issues in the area, but also we've got to note that parking does actually help as a way of slowing down traffic. I note the safety concerns that the person has put forward, but if people are obeying the speed limit, then I don't see that is a major concern in other areas. So I second the objection on that, on those grounds.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Perkin?
This is just me raising the drop curb necessity for people with disabilities, like I do when we have these conversations. I don't entirely disagree that we should be looking to keep. Well, I agree we should be looking to have as much front gardenage as possible, but at the same time, I worry that lots of drop curbs being denied means that people's houses are less accessible to them as they get older.
Thank you. So are you going with the objection? No.
I'll likely abstain.
You just need to
Yeah.
do the
Do a
vote.
vote, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So would you like to vote on that then? I'd like to abstain on that one as well because, yeah, I'm quite unsure. I think parking is needed, off-road parking. Right. So
How many in favour of objecting? 2, 3.
2, 3.
3. Thank you.
2150 50 65 full Lady Dane Farmhouse, Love Lane, change of use from activity centre and sensory room to 2 apartments for supported living. Any comments on this application? It sounds, Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I note there are no public objections, and we do know we need more sheltered accommodation, but I am concerned that the sensory room is going because that was part of the offer. Do we know if that's, I couldn't see whether they were replacing that or not.
They were relocating it.
Relocating.
It will be there.
Okay.
And then
In
people
that
didn't
case,
have
I
to
would say
go out.
no objection.
Thank you. Any other comment on that? Councillor Perkin?
I'd actually support the application. I think, as the Deputy Town Clerk has just said, they are moving it. They're moving the sensory room to almost be a little bit more accessible for the residents, and it is in line with the KCC obligations for adult social care. So I think having 2 more sheltered accommodation units is really helpful. So I'd propose that we support the application.
Thank you.
I'm prepared to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. And could we all vote on that? Unless anyone has any other comments? No, I think we all support. Thank you. 2150 5170. Annex Bridge House, 99 Ospringe Road. Installation of 20 solar panels on south elevation. Well, we've all got a pecuniary or non-pecuniary, isn't it? Interest. Could we really object to something like that? Any other? I don't know. Councillor Perkin?
I don't think we can comment on it, can we, as a council? I think that should just go straight to Swale.
Yep.
Right. Yep. Okay then. We're all agreed. That's what happened. Thank you. 2150 5197 full and 2150 5198 LBC. Orchard Cottage, Canterbury Road. Erection of a cabin. Sorry, are there any comments there? It's quite a large garden there, isn't it? And Councillor Williams.
I can't see any reason why we would object to this. I think I know it's obviously a listed building, but this quite as you say, Madam Mayor, it's quite extensive grounds, and I don't think it's going to cause any impact on other properties. And actually, it doesn't seem to be a particularly big building. Actually, my humble knowledge. So yeah, I think I would propose no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Martin?
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't look that. It does look a bit plain. Describing it as a cabin, it looks almost like a garden shed to me. But I would say no objection on this one.
Thank you. Can we all vote on that? Thank you. 2150, 5213 full. 5 the Knoll, erection of a single story rear extension for residential dwelling. Again, I can see no reason to object. Councillor Martin. Yes, Councillor Martin, I think you've frozen. His hand is. Oh no, you're back. Yeah, you're back.
I'm sort of back. I think my internet connection is unstable, so what I'll do is I'll turn the camera off for a second. All I can say is there's no objections from neighbours. Seems to be a well thought out plan with good flood risk consideration, so I propose no objection.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Saunders.
Yeah, I'd be happy to second Councillor Martin's proposal. As he says, I think it seems
Well thought out.
fine, really.
Thank you. Any other comments? Or no? Can we all vote on that then? Thank you. Great. So I think that concludes this evening's planning meeting. So thank you to, Councillor Perkin.
Thank you. Can I just pick up that the Jubilee Way application is registered as Watling Ward, but it's actually Abbey Ward.
Ah, right.
Okay.
Okay then. No, that's great, everyone. Thank you very much for this evening, and see you all in, well, those that are on the neighbourhood plan in about half an hour, no, quarter of an hour. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.